The Songs of Angels. Actually, it was kind of a long time in coming. I thought of the idea back when I was a student at Seattle University, and I began to write the idea as a story. Actually, I was writing it for my goddaughter, but she was never really interested in religious things. So I never dedicated it to her, gave it to her, or even talked to her about it. But in university, I read in an Old Testament studies. We also looked at the Midrash, which is an old Jewish commentary on the Old Testament stories. And in the Midrash, I found a commentary that said that the job of archangels during the creation of the universe and the planet and earth and people and frogs and everything, was to write music to welcome each thing, each phase of creation and each thing in creation. So it could take millions of years to write all those songs, because there's so much different stuff out there. And in here. In here. Well, at any rate, I got thinking about the story, about that. And I thought, well, how would it be to be an archangel? Everything is spiritual. There's no matter. So I always think of spiritual and consciousness as sort of the same thing. Where is the idea that I have? Is it in here, or what is consciousness? Well, I think it's a lot like spirit. I think they're sort of the same. So that means no knowledge of matter. And I got to thinking, well, what if God came in and said, okay, I'm going to create a material universe, fellas, and I want you to write music for it. You do so great with the music up here when we did the cherubims and the seraphims and created all those people, all those creatures, all those beings, that I want music for each thing as it comes into existence. And so it raised one of the archangels. So, well, what kind of stuff is coming into existence? What are these beings? Well, they're not all going to be beings. I mean, some of it's going to be flat and some of it round and some of it square and some of it sharp and some of it dull and some of it wet and some of it dry and some of it fire and on fire, and some things are going to be pointed and some things dull. And so forget about sharp and round and flat and square. What are things? Tell us about things. Because they don't have any knowledge of anything, whether it's a pebble or a blade of grass. Well, so they start writing music. And they're archangels. It's going to be good music. It's going to get better and better as creation gets more and more involved. But suddenly it moves from just a formless void, to creeping things on the earth, grass, and things in the water first, and then grass, and things on the land, and wiggly squigglers, and suddenly, and you end up with Adam and Eve. That's the biblical account. If you do it through evolution, it's sort of the same process, the same chronology of events, but you end up with Adam and Eve. But the stories are pretty similar. When one of the archangels, who don't have names until Adam comes along, because he will name everything, that's his job in the Old Testament. Human consciousness naming its environment. So, one of them, called Shining One in the story, begins to worry when he finds out, or it finds out, because angels are neither male or female, are they? That while humans are to be created a little lower than angels, they are actually able to do something archangels can't do. That's reproduce after their own kind. In fact, even a blade of grass can do that. And this archangel is not too happy with this. And so there begins to be division. And this archangel's music changes He begins to write more like Stravinsky and Mahler. There's discord in his arrangements. And of course, when Adam starts to name them, the angels become Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and of course the angel who falls, Lucifer. That's the story. But there are some mighty wonderful laughs along the way. These angels are not your grandmother's archangels, okay?